Hello YouTube, welcome back. I'm getting ready to get started on my next little project that I picked up. This is a Course Hines beacon light. Right here it says it's a type FCB12. It does have the little thing on the side, but it's not really readable at this time. I'm going to have to do some cleaning on it. I found this on the marketplace, and when I first saw the picture, I saw that it had green lenses, and I thought, well, that's really cool. You don't really see green very often, mainly because they're kind of used for like the marine industry. So I kind of saw and think, well, maybe it was like a navigation beacon light next to maybe like a bridge, like the pillars, or like a support column or something like that. And it was used for like the marine use, and you don't see something like that come across very often. So I went ahead and got a hold of the guy and said, I'm going to come out and get it. So I drove out there to look at it. When I got out there, I noticed it looked a little weird. So I was talking to him, and he told me that he actually painted it green. It wasn't originally green. You can see it was just clear lenses. So not the end of the world, but the other downside is you can see it's also missing all the original hardware that was on the light originally. It just has a little 110 light in there just to use it as like a yard ornament, which is not a big deal. Overall, the light is not in terrible shape, but it's also not in the greatest condition. There is one crack and a chip in the lens. Obviously, it's missing all the hardware. But the biggest thing is obviously trying to get this thing cleaned up. I don't know really what this black stuff is on here, but it doesn't seem to wipe off. So I don't really know what that is. So I'm sure I'm gonna, fight getting that off. But I guess the first step is let's go ahead and start disassembling this thing, start getting it cleaned up, see what I have to work with, and then go from there.
But doing a little bit of research online to try to see if I can figure out a little more information about this light. The only thing I've really been able to come across is that these lights right here were manufactured around the 1950s to the 1960s. Okay, so I got everything tore apart. It actually came apart a lot easier than I was expecting it to. Now, I know it has been apart not too long ago because they did all the painting, but these three bolts right here did give me a little bit of a fit, and I had to use my drill and kind of walk them back and forth until I got them fully off to try to make sure I didn't, break or snap those screws, and that kind of made me worried about the rest of it, but for the most part, it came apart pretty good. I was a little concerned also right here where the lens was attached to the base here. It had like the caulking down there, and it kind of was a little stuck. I was worried that I was going to like break it or something like that in the process. And you see how filthy these things are. So the next step is to take these outside, maybe hit them with a pressure washer, kind of get them cleaned up. Hopefully I can get them clean enough to leave them natural. If not, I might paint them with something. But I'd love to leave them natural if I could. And while I'm pressure washing those, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give these a bit of a pressure washing as well to see how well these come out. I do got to be careful with this one right here. You see how it definitely has this crack that runs all the way down it. Plus it has a pretty good chip on the top. Now once I get these clean, I might take some epoxy, put some epoxy on there just to kind of give it a little extra strength. If I do that, I'll just make sure it's on the back side of the unit where you're not going to see it, just to kind of help maybe make sure it doesn't get any worse over time. But the next step is to get all the stuff outside, start pressure washing it, see how well it comes out. So let's get started on that next. Before I take them outside and hit them with that pressure washer, I want to try to get as much of the old caulking and crud and all that stuff off as much as I can, then hit it with the pressure washer and see how they turn out.
All right, got everything all pressure washed, got everything kind of cleaned up. I don't really know what that black stuff was, but once it started getting wet from the pressure washer, it seemed to soften up and came right off. So you can see everything got cleaned pretty good, except for this red paint right here, which I'll see if I can get some stripper for that. This is like a red RVT silicone, but I got to put new foam tape on this, so I'm not too worried about that. You see everything come up pretty clean, which is nice. I also pressure washed the lenses from a distance to try to make sure I didn't do any damage to them. Same thing, that black stuff came right off, nice and nice and clean on the outside. The problem I'm having is the guy I got this from did automotive airbrushing. Now I'm thinking this is actually an automotive like candy, green paint that they use, when they're kind of going over top of another color to kind of give it like that, different, tone or shade with a candy color. The reason I say that is because the way the sheen looks right here, it looks like it might have been, like a candy paint, automotive paint, because that pressure washer didn't even do anything to it. You can see I'm scratching with my finger, and it's not hurting it at all. So I'm going to go to a local automotive paint supply company, see if they have a heavy duty stripper to see if I can get it to soften up and then hit it with a pressure washer again. If not, I can use the razor blade on these three. But I'm not really going to be able to use the razor blade on this one too well. It's going to be my problem child. The reason why is because you got all the ribs on the inside. It's not smooth like these right here where they're nice and smooth. You got these ribs. So I'd have to get every single rib, the top, side, the whole 9 yards. So this way you don't see the green coming through.
My original thought was I was going to repaint this in green, but I decided I want to make it match the one that I currently have. I have another one that has clear lenses with red filters in it. I'm going to go ahead and show you that light right now. All right, so this is the light that I was talking about right here that kind of matches it. You can see where I have the nice clear lenses around it. And when I open it up, you can see the red filters on the inside that go around the bulb. Pretty much all that does is that just gives it that red color when the light is flashing.
So I picked this up a couple years back. It's a green film. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to create two green round filters that'll go around the bulbs to kind of give me that same look. So when I put the two side by side, you have a nice clear lens with the red filters, clear lens with the green filters. All right, so I got started. I just went to Home Depot and just picked up some regular paint stripper to try first. This is what I picked up right here. And I started on this lens first. I figured this would be the lens that would say like it generates any haziness or something like that. This one's not as seen well as these are. You can see it cleaned it really good. You know, I scrubbed it with a paintbrush really good inside there, and then hit it with the pressure washer to knock it out. Still a little wet at the moment, but what I'm going to do is if it generates any kind of haziness that's really bad, I'll probably use a clear coat spray and do clear coat on the inside. So this way it'll kind of give it a much more transparent look to it. And then I'll do my filter. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other three clean now.
Okay, so the rest of them are all nice and clean. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking like one of those little auto detailing kind of brush things on my drill and just kind of working it in to try to get rid of a little bit of the haziness that I got, plus also making sure all the little grooves and stuff like that are cleaned out.
All right, I think I got these about as clean as they're going to go. You can see I was using that one wheel. The reason I was kind of using that is one, it made it a lot easier. Two, it was kind of like almost like using a wire wheel, just not as aggressive as an actual wire wheel would have been on the glass. So it definitely was able to get in here, clean that. Plus, I was able to get into all the little nooks and crannies, because it is kind of has all little strings on it. So it got into all the little grooves really good, which was really nice. After I got done doing that, I finished them off with this polishing compound right here. It's a swirl remover with a foam applicator. And what I did is I just went on the inside and kind of did the same thing, just went back and forth and just kind of polished the whole inside out, and then kind of polished out the big sections. I didn't want to get inside here because it'd be hard to get the polish back out of them. So I just polished obviously like the big sections like here, and stuff like that. But I got to say, definitely came out really nice. You can see there's next to no hazing on here. I mean, you see how clear these things have turned out. So I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. The next step is going to be to start assembling them and then make my light sockets. Now what I'll be doing for the light sockets is I picked these up right here. They're just a couple little lamp sockets that you can buy from a hardware store. You can see I have this. I made sure I got one that has like this little screw-on piece right here. I'll explain the importance of that in just a second. And you see the wires just go onto those right there, so I don't have to necessarily run the wires through the portion that say like if you're actually making a lamp or something out of this. Pick these up right here. It's a 2-pack. Obviously these have the thing for it's hollow, but I don't really need that aspect, but that's just the way they come. But I have 2 of these to work with, and then a bunch of like nuts and some spacers and stuff like that. What the game plan here is I'm going to screw this into the bottom of there, and I'm going to make a holder on the bottom and the top that's going to kind of come up, over, and down with a hole in the center of it. And what it'll do is this is going to allow me to essentially take the bulb, put the bulb in there, and actually move it up and down like this until it perfectly lines up with the part of the lens that it needs to line up with to have the best effect. And then once I got that, then I'll just tighten all the nuts down nice and tight and then just cut off the excess. That's going to be the best way to make it to where I can line it all up. That's actually how I did my lighthouse too, to make sure it lined up properly with the lens. For the green filters, this is what I'm going to be using. I picked these up. I don't really know what they are. I don't know if they're like supposed to be a vase, a giant cup, whatever you want to call it. But my game plan is I'm going to cut a hole in the back here, so this way the light bulb can go through it. I'm going to take the green film, wrap the green film around it. I was trying to find something like this that was already green, but I wasn't able to, so I will wrap the green film around it. And essentially what that's going to do is that's going to make my my green filters. And since I'm going to run LED lights in this, I'm not worried about the plastic. The LEDs are not going to melt this plastic. Now, if I was going to use like a 100-watt incandescent bulb, this would not be recommended. All it's going to do is warp these and melt them. But using LED bulbs is not going to hurt them one bit, so that's why I'm using these. And I'll be able to put some drill some holes, maybe put some L brackets on there so I can lock them into position so this way they stay fixed. So the next step is going to be, once I get the unit put back together, I will start figuring these parts out and get this thing finished up.
To kind of get back to those numbers I referenced earlier in the video, none of those really actually give me like a manufacturing date. The FCB12 number is more or less just the model number of this particular light. The 257F3W is a catalog number, I guess, where you would have found this light, I guess, in a catalog. And the 700 watt, it was pretty much just the wattage of the light bulb. So I couldn't find anything that gave me an actual date of manufacturing.
All right, I'm just going to kind of show what I'm talking about with the whole adjustment aspect of this of the rod. Now, since this has this little bit of a lip here, you know, I have about 1/4 inch play. I'm gonna, instead of building a little thing inside, you know, I just drilled the hole all the way through the bottom. Once I tighten the nut, you know, right where I have it, then I can cut the excess off. It'll still sit flat on the ground. But I'm gonna turn it on and show you what I was talking about. So right now you can see where I have it set in here, and if I move this up and down, I can. You see where it kind of hits this lens differently. Now, right here, I measured from my bench up to the center of this, because this is essentially my center point. I'm at 9.5. I made a mark right here at 9.5. So when you look, if I move this up and down, you can see where the light is going like that. So obviously, for me to project it as horizontal as possible, it's probably going to be right about there. And that should give me the most parallel, you know, projection of the light and catch all these things nice and evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and get that where I want it, tighten it up, cut that excess off, so this way I can move it over here where I feel safer with it. I have it screwed down. I want to move over here, and then I'll start figuring out how I'm going to do the top one as far as the hanger for that, and then I'll start working on the lenses, or the filters, I mean. I got the light socket mounted on the other side. I mounted it to the lid like the original one would have been. I just took and made a little bracket that I was able to screw into the original screws right there. See, I got my adjustment right here. So when this goes down the side, you know, that puts the light bulb, you know, right where it needs to be. And then the next step is going to be to, after I get everything done, I'll zip tie the wires nice and neatly down one of the support rods. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the filters first before I marry the two back together. But it's moving right along.
So before I go ahead and cover the second one with the wrap, I want to show you how I'm hanging these things in position. So I'm using this aluminum bracket right here and just a couple screws just kind of hold everything in place. Now these screws on top are in some existing holes, probably for the original filter brackets. I'm just using some small screws down here to hold the plastic to that bracket right there. Then the next step is just take this green film right here, kind of cut it to size. And I'm going to wrap it around that vase cup thing, whatever it is right there. And then once I do that, I'll have a perfectly green filter. Now this film is a lot like window tint. It actually has a little bit of like an adhesive on there. So once you peel the backer off, which is what I'm doing right here, it'll actually stick right to that plastic cup. So I don't have to like glue it or tape it or anything like that. It's just going to stick right to it. So I'm just going to get it nice and even. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut it and square it up the best I can. So when I stick it inside there, it looks as good as possible. I mean, you're not really going to see it, but I still want to make it look good. All right, so I pretty much got them both done and in position. Now, I did the bottom a little different from the top because I kind of messed up on the top. I'll kind of explain. So I have this one all the way to the top and taped to the bracket, and this one's a little short. I'm getting bleed out on the very top right there and towards the bottom right here from the green light. So I made this one taller to kind of help with that. Now the top one, I might make that one a little bit longer just to kind of help with that. But then I thought maybe I'll just get some green party bulbs because then it won't matter because it'll all be green. I ain't going to worry about any bleed out. But I'm still going to keep with the filters in there because if I don't do that, I'm not going to have that look I'm going for with the clear lenses right here with the green filters on the inside. So either way, I'm still going to keep the filters, but I think the green bulbs is going to help a lot with the extra bleed out with the light. Okay, let's go ahead and plug it in. Okay, so here it is, all lit up. I did pick up a little 110 flasher off of eBay so I can make a flash so it looks a little bit more like a beacon light when it's turned on. But to my surprise, it actually turned out really well, considering in the very beginning I had my doubts because it had this weird black stuff on the lenses. That automotive paint was pretty durable. Heck, the pressure wash didn't even phase that stuff until I used some kind of paint stripper on there. But in the end, this thing really cleaned up really nice. I am glad that I stuck with the green theme for this one, but instead of keeping the whole thing green, I like the clear lenses with the green filters. I think it looks much nicer this way. I hope you all enjoyed seeing the transformation from what it looked like when I first got it. to what it looks like now that everything's all cleaned up and working. Thanks for watching.